Butler, the 28-year-old former USBA super middleweight champ, owns a record of 18-2 as a professional with 12 knockouts. We saw him here on Friday Night Fights in 1999, dust Murky Sosa in the second round of their showdown. Then he squared off against Bryant Brannon. At stake, the USBA title, at that time held by Brannon, captured by Butler, a 7th-round knockout. His first defense came against Arthur Allen, easily dusting Allen in the second round, and he defended his crown again against Jose Spearman, a 6th-round knockout. After a win against Jerry Williams, he traveled to Germany to take on Sven Otke for the IBF championship. In this fight, Butler was battling a cold the week before the fight, could not get his conditioning going, and he was not able to sustain constant pressure. Otke used his reach. Otke kept his IBF crown with a 12-round unanimous decision victory. So as you take a look at the super middleweight rankings in the IBF, James Butler is currently placed 8th, but with a bullet, he has a chance to move up in a hurry if he gets past this man. Richard Grant out of Brooklyn, New York, 13-8 as a professional with 2 knockouts. He's taken on good competition like Butler earlier in their careers, a 4-round decision win. But he is susceptible to big punches, having been knocked out 4 times in his career. One of his better performances was his last fight in February. Vitaly Klitschko squared off in a 10-round bout. And in this fight in round number 9, there would be a clash of heads. Close bout at the time, and Grant would suffer a very bad cut. Accidental foul, they went to the scorecards, and Richard Grant would get a technical win in 9 rounds in a very tough bout. So Grant has not fought in 9 months and 2 weeks, but he's ready to take on James Butler tonight under the bright lights of New York City. We're playing Broadway tonight here on Friday Night Fights. There you get a look at Richard Grant. Born in Jamaica, fighting out of Brooklyn, New York, a 9-month, 2-week layoff, the longest of his career. Remember, he had that bad cut against Klitschko. And you get a look at his last 5. He's lost to Will Taylor in there. And a win against Kevin Pompey, who is well past his prime. And that technical win against Klitschko. James Butler from New York City is ranked number 8 by the IBF. 168.25 pounds. 18-2, 12 knockouts. He is coming off that loss in Germany to Sven Otke, former USBA super middleweight champion of the world. Let's take a look at the rules as governed by the state of New York. 3 knockdown rule is in effect. No standing 8 count. Fighter cannot be stable to bell in any round. Referee or doctor may stop it. Accidental foul will go to the scorecards after half of the bout is complete. In this case, the bell to start the 6th round. As we turn things over, as both fighters come to the center of the ring with referee Mike Ortega.
I wish you both the best of luck. Obey my commands at all
Final
times.
rules
Touch them up.
being given to both boxers. They'll touch the gloves.
Touch them up.
Mike wants them both to touch it up. Forces them to. And we turn things over one final time to our ring announcer, Michael Buffer.
And now, on behalf of the promoters and sponsors, on behalf of the fighters and fans here in New York tonight, it is with great pride that we dedicate this event and all the fights here tonight to the memory of the victims and families of 9/11/01. And we rededicate this in the name of their memory to the men and women now serving in harm's way as members of the armed forces of the United States of America fighting terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Here we go, 10 rounds, super middleweights. Thank you, Michael Buffer. Richard Grant, James Butler. Love that Buffer signature.
You have to. It's known all over the world.
In a phrase first originally coined on the old ESPN Top Rank series with Sal Marciano.
Is that right?
Doing the play-by-play.
Little history lesson here.
And Michael Buffer has taken it to new heights. So round number 1 underway. Gotta give my man Sal a plug. 3 first-round knockouts for Butler. Grant has never recorded a first-round stoppage. Grant came to the United States in 1996. Was with the Jamaican Olympic team. Had some cuts and could not compete in the Olympic Games. Someone asked him to turn pro. He called his mom back in Jamaica and says, I won't see you for a couple of years. I'm going to be a pro in the U.S.
Movement is the way to go when you're fighting Butler. A real good puncher who needs to be set to uncork the power. Therefore, Grant on his horse. Only one problem with that strategy. To win, you must come off the horse to punch enough to get an edge.
Both guys wearing blue trunks. Grant has the red stripe. I've seen a couple of boxers like Vincent and Collado both wearing black. Our esteemed fight coordinator, Russell Peltz, the outstanding matchmaker from Philadelphia, under the weather couldn't be here. You know he never allows the same colored trunks.
Nor should he. He's a real boxing man. He would not have allowed that. You're absolutely right. He would have been on top of that right from the beginning.
Well, to simplify it for you, Grant's the one with the blonde hair.
Dennis Rodman hairdo, the former basketball player.
Butler with the more traditional locks.
I'll say it early. This is the kind of fight, the kind of style that Grant has. He has enough hand speed, enough experience, enough ability, and a good enough style to give Butler problems up until the moment he gets caught. It's the kind of fight he could be winning much of the fight right up to the moment he's caught. So it's his job, obviously, not to get caught.
And Grant has been knocked out 4 times. Apolinar Hernandez did it in 1999. Scott Pemberton did it in 1998. Emil Baku did it in 1998. And Kabari Salim did it in 1997. That one on ESPN2.
Butler has power, but if there's a knock on him, he can be out-hustled.
As feeling out as you can get in round 1. Bob Papa, Teddy Atlas. Round 2 underway between James Butler with the dark hair and Richard Grant with the blonde hair. And if you ever wanted to make a case for an even round, take a look at these punch numbers. Butler was 0 for 2 in the power category. Grant was 0 for 1 in the power category. Sluggish crowd, sluggish action tonight. I wonder if the tryptophan from the turkey has finally kicked in. I congratulate you on your identifying Lennox Lewis would win the fight.
You too,
hey, how about his cut man, Al Gavin? We saw him last week on our show, and he said, Lewis, 4th round knockout.
Pretty good. Al Gavin, a boxing man for many, many years, 40 plus.
And
from New York.
That's right. And Al is in the corner of Richard Grant.
You'd like to see Grant move his hands a little bit more. Right now, rounds are being offered on the plate for Grant to grab. Butler known as a slow starter. Butler, a man who has tremendous power, but not a very busy fighter. A fighter who can be out-hustled, as I said the last round, outworked a little bit. And a fighter who can be out-boxed, but a fighter who you cannot afford to make a mistake with.
All right, let's go deep here psychologically. And now I'm reaching with the turkey and stuffing aside. There's a left hand from Grant.
And it's staggered Butler a little bit.
The day after a holiday, like Thanksgiving, is it tough for the boxers to keep their focus? And maybe that's why the action for all the fights has been spotty at best. You know, you got the holidays, the big meal yesterday, guys trying not to because they have to make weight. Is it just too many distractions to fight the day after a holiday?
That's not a bad point to bring up, but you're a professional if you're a fighter. Football players played on Thanksgiving. Hey, they're dealing with the same thing. Basketball players play on Christmas Day. So I would argue that if you're a pro, you have to deal with that. That is why you are paid. The styles of these fights might be causing problems.
Savarese, a New York native, had that good win here on Friday Night Fights against David Bostis a couple of weeks ago. Up at Foxwoods, checking out the action tonight. Mark Breland on hand. Of course, you saw Bernard Hopkins earlier on. Round 3 underway. Richard Grant with the blonde hair and James Butler with the black hair in a scheduled 10-round super middleweight bout. Grant had the edge in round number 2. He actually hurt Butler with a left hand. He only landed 4 of 13 power shots combined in the second round.
Butler looking for one spot to suddenly end the night for Grant. It's the kind of fight where Grant must fight a perfect fight. He will be allowed the landscape to get ahead in his fight. Butler, a man who needs to be set to punch. Butler, a man who does not throw extraordinary amounts of punches. Matter of fact, the old timers would say he throws punches as though he pays for them. But when he does throw, if he connects, he can be paralyzing. But right now, the man who's in charge, as we thought might happen, is Grant. But as I said, Grant must fight. He has the pressure of fighting a perfect fight, not making mistakes. Well, Butler can make mistakes, as he's done already, and still win the fight.
Well, in our CompuBox breakdown sheet, they did a sort of an evaluation of 5 of Butler's fights, and he does not look to be very busy in that breakdown. Only throws 37 punches per round. Defensive stats are good. It's because he lulls the guy, but he's looking to just load up with that right hand. A sampling of his 5 fights spit out that data.
There are 2 spots where Grant must be careful not to get caught with one of those load-up punches you just referred to by Butler. One spot is in front. Grant must get off and then get out. Not stay in front, allowing Butler the scenario where he can follow misses until finally he lands. Also, Grant must be careful not to go straight back. Butler likes to jump in with leaping hooks as you go back.
You hold your punches. You understand?
Butler truly looking confused and frustrated with Grant's style. Welcome back to the Roseland Ballroom in New York City. Bob Papa, Teddy Atlas, Friday Night Fights. James Butler with the black hair against Richard Grant with the blonde hair. No knockdown so far in the fight. Butler has averaged throwing only 20 punches per round. We'll take a look at the numbers through 5 rounds. And we were generous with the percentage. See, Grant has been much busier. The jab has been his staple. Over the last 2 rounds, Grant has landed 25 of 95 jabs over the last 2 rounds, controlling the distance.
I mentioned in the very first round that this could very easily be the kind of fight where Grant's winning every moment of every round until he's caught. So far, it would seem to be the case.
I've given Grant 4 of the first 5 rounds. The first round I had dead even.
If he's going to be caught, as we mentioned earlier, if Grant is going to be caught, it will probably only come from 2 ways. One would be if Grant stays in front, gets a little carried away with himself. The other would be stepping back. One of those leaping hooks by Butler. Brian and Max correctly pointed out that Floyd Patterson was the master, the creator of the leaping hook. Floyd knocking out Ingemar Johansson with that punch to become the first heavyweight to regain the heavyweight title.
Joe Frazier landed a pretty good one down the road, Madison Square Garden, in his first bout with Muhammad Ali.
That was a pretty good one. In the 15th round, when there were 15-round fights, in the fight of the century, in Madison Square Garden, as you said. The key, both with Frazier and with Floyd Patterson, is when to throw that punch. It's not just a lucky punch. It is a created punch. It is a designed punch. It must be thrown at the right time, when an opponent is stepping out, where you can negotiate the distance and let him step into the punch. Like leading a receiver in a football game. Throw the ball where he's going to be. Throw the punch behind the head of the opponent.
And now you have the history of the leaping left hook. Butler comes into this fight ranked 8th by the IBF, coming off a title fight in which he lost in Germany to Sven Otke through 12 rounds. Power numbers through 6 according to CompuBox. Butler 10 of 41. Grant 15 of 51. So Grant, who's not known for his power, with the edge in the power game. But Teddy, now he starts to clown around, and that's the worst thing he can do, leaving himself available for the one thing Butler can do, and that's land a solid shot.
We knew from the beginning Butler could make many mistakes and still win this fight. Grant does not have that privilege.
I mean, he's got to basically pitch a perfect game.
Exactly.
Or at least a no-hitter.
And he must balance his success with his fight plan, with the knowledge that he still must be very leery, very aware of the power of Butler. No matter how successful he is, balance it with caution.
Blood from the nose of Butler. And I think he also is cut along the eye.
This has not been one of our more scintillating nights, but this fight I find intriguing for the one fact that at any moment Butler can land the bomb. And during those moments, while you're waiting, you could be watching an upset. Grant beating a fighter who in this last fight fought for a world title.
Grant as confident as ever. That one came via Western Union.
Smart move by Grant, not only making the right hand miss, but then tying up, falling in close, not staying outside where a second punch could make up for the first miss. Because that is where Butler is dangerous. He missed the first one, but if you stay in front, he may catch you with this second. You must fall in, take away the ability to throw the second punch.
Look at Grant. I mean, he is just, you can see those punches coming from nowhere. I mean, you can see them coming from a mile away.
The referee must be careful not to get caught with one of those left field blows.
Quite a draft. There he is again, flailing away. It's a bye-bye Balboni breeze here at ringside.
Do not go straight back if you are Richard Grant. No jabs from Butler. No body work from Butler. Only big load-up missiles. But a missile has no value if it cannot get to the target. You must have a device to get it to the target. A jab, a feint, a trick. So far, none of that has existed for Butler.
Here, take a look at the punches landed by round, and unfortunately for Butler, it looks more like a Tiger Woods scorecard than a boxer's scorecard. A lot of low numbers.
This is where Grant must not play, must not stay in that corner. Even if he makes Butler miss 1 or 2, if he stays in front, the third, the fourth will have a chance to land, and that's all Butler's looking for now, a chance to land.
Hey, the one problem though with Butler, he doesn't allow himself a chance to set up the big punch because he doesn't throw any medium punches just to at least get the guy in range. There are all these huge shots.
If he was a pitcher, he would score a lot of strikeouts, but there would be a lot of home runs hit off him because you know what's coming. Grant flirting with danger a little bit more this round than he did the prior rounds.
Good shot to the body there from Grant. Well, to this point, and I have to always caution, to this point, Grant has Butler figured out. Obviously, Butler is hoping to land one of those huge shots. How about Grant stepping in with a right hand? We hit the end of the 8th round. Richard Grant in control. In the last round. Here comes Butler, able to get the left hand going. And a right hand. And now Grant is in harm's way. Left hook started it. In the last round, Grant landed 18 of 41, Butler 8 of 37.
I said the last round that Grant started flirting with danger, getting a little bit closer to the edge. Butler trying to put him over the edge.
So almost too much success as far as the boxing game, getting too cute.
Exactly. Butler having a lot of problems. One of them, his left eye starting to swell.
Break, let him out, let him out.
Teddy Atlas's scorecard through 8 rounds, 79-73 for Grant. I have it 80-73 with the first round even for Grant.
If an explosion is to come, it will come from Butler's left hook. That is where he has the best chance to unleash something. And that's what he was thinking right there.
Okay, now let's remove those two amateurish type punches offerings for Butler.
Well, it depends what kind of amateur. You're insulting a good amateur
all right,
when you say that.
Good point. How does Butler set up that punch the right way, not that way? What's the way to set up his bread and butter punch against a guy that's giving him this much movement?
You know, when you see that commercial, how do you spell relief? R-O-L-A-I-D-S. I hate to do a commercial. Well, how do you spell catching Grant with a punch? J-A-B! How about a jab? Use that jab if you're Butler. Close the ground. Distance is killing you right now. One of the best ways to close distance, use that jab. Get a little closer. Get into range.
10th and final round getting ready to begin for Richard the Alien Grant with the blonde hair against the Harlem Hammer, James Butler. Butler has not been able to drop the hammer on Grant so far. Okay, let's see what Mike Ortega has here. Hit on the brake, please. Listen to me. Done a good job as Mike.
Don't retaliate.
Well, Teddy, I don't think it comes as a surprise to you when I make this next observation, but I think Butler needs a knockout to win.
He needed it before this fight started. And we more or less said that. This has gone according to plan.
The thing that I've been impressed the most about in this fight is that for the most part, for 98% of the time, Grant has stayed with his game plan. Enough movement, enough jabs, enough in and out, and enough defense.
Grant had the style going for him in this fight. He knew what he did well. He knew what Butler did well. He also had a little confidence going, having beaten Butler early in their career.
Back in 1997, the third pro bout for both. You know, when you look at a guy like Grant, who's 13-8 as a pro, you say to yourself, not disciplined to stick with his style. That's why he gets caught. That's why he loses. Tonight, so far, he's pretty much stayed with his game plan.
Smart move by Grant, not only to stop and punch, but to go around the shoulder of Butler, not straight back, not in the firing zone, so to speak. You go around the shoulder of the man. Turn him.
Let him out. Let him out.
Don't give him that firing lane by going straight back. Butler's looking for that firing lane. If you're Grant, you have to worry about two things now. The first bomb, the left hook probably coming at you. Don't give that to Butler. Do not go straight back. And this second punch, do not let go of your attention once you make the first miss. There will be a second following.
One final rule you should know: cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including this last round, in case Butler does land one of his big shots.
There's that left hook, and it half landed. But with 10 seconds left to go, Grant may be able to survive.
Well, he left himself open, got tagged. Butler too wild though, and there's the bell to end it.
When we go to the scorecards, Tommy Kazmarek scores about 96-94. Steve Weisfeld has it 97-93. That's the same score from Melvina Lathan, 97-93. All for the winner by unanimous decision, Richard the Alien Grant.
So Butler's number 8 ranking is going to take a hit. Richard Grant in the mild upset, a unanimous decision victory.
Oh, look at this.
Butler. Whoa! Butler just ran across the ring.
Butler just went over there and sucker punched and knocked out Grant.
Oh boy.
Terrible. And the new commissioner, Ray Kelly, will do something very, very enforceful here.
You want to talk about Zab Judah and his antics, losing some money in a suspension. James Butler should never be allowed in the ring again.
Absolutely.
Never. That's assault. That is assault. He should be arrested on the spot. He should be arrested right on the spot. That is assault and battery.
This will be the first test for the new commissioner, Ray Kelly, and I know that he will handle this the right way.
What a punk. James Butler. And we're going to take a look at it one more time. Richard Grant, unanimous decision win. He turns to Butler to shake his hand, congratulate him.
Putting his arm out.
Boom! Right there. He was a coward and he couldn't get him during the fight, and he sucker punched him right there. And now Richard Grant is up on his own feet. Now they're going to escort Butler out of here. And they got him. The police are right there. They're going to escort him out. Ray Kelly, the commissioner, is right behind him. He is being taken out, and he should be thrown in a paddy wagon right now. And fortunately, Richard Grant is okay. They will not need the stretcher. And Richard Grant, unanimous decision victory. And what a horrible way to sign off tonight. On a night of such goodwill, helping out the World Trade Center Relief Fund. It ends in a nightmare, but fortunately for Richard Grant, he appears to be okay as he beats James Butler. Hopefully the last we'll ever see of James Butler, at least on our network. For Teddy Atlas, Max Kellerman, Brian Kenny. Bob Papa saying so long. James Butler with the cowardly move of the night in defeat.